Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I want to talk about moving to different Zone 1 regions. This is a question that not only I've been getting, but I've been seeing posted quite a bit when it comes to how can I move to a different Zone 1 region? What options do I have early on in the kingdom? And we're going to walk you through everything you need to know in a pretty short and quick video. So, the very first thing we need to touch on is, first off, defining kind of where the Zone 1 regions are and the level 1 passes, which are on the outside perimeter of each of the kingdoms. Now, or I should just say every kingdom. So let's say that you are here in Sophrostia, but you want to try and get to Nivola. Well, obviously you have to flag up to get to level 1 of the level 1 passes, you have to capture it, and then you flag into the Nivola area. But let's talk about how this also works with some of the fortresses. So, as you should know, you can only place a center fortress in your affiliated region / your starting region, right? Before, you were actually able to freely place your CF anywhere you wanted to in Zone 1 as long as you had pass access. So before, you could capture a level 1 pass from Sophrostia and then immediately drop your CF here at Nivola, where the adjacent level 1 passes are going into Darlin, and basically just keep pass hopping. But now, you cannot do that. Now you can only build, and before you could actually build a CF, right? They actually would let you build a CF, but it had to be connected. Now, you cannot do that, right? So the update before, you could flag out into Nivola, still build a CF, and then keep flagging going that way. Now, you cannot build a CF into another region. You can only build your center fortress in the region that you started in. So if you started in your alliance in Sophrostia, you can only build your CF there. You, however, can still flag out from Sophrostia through a level 1 pass into Nivola and then build an alliance fortress. And then from there, you could remove territory as long as you have a CF up here in your starting region or affiliated region, and then keep flagging out, and then basically just kind of do alliance fort swaps if you need to kind of move from one region to another. That's a way where you don't necessarily have to overwhelmingly use all of your flags up, right, and kind of go out in a straight line. You can break that up if you need to move to different regions. Now, let's talk about how this impacts if, let's say, you need to get players from one alliance to another alliance throughout Zone 1. Little pro tip here. So, this is something we ended up figuring out in Zone 1, thanks to, I think, our guys Lubu and Rover. If those, again, and again, there might have been some other people, but one of the things that we figured out is where, let's say, you want to try and hop to other alliances and other Zone 1 regions. So what you would do is you need to flag out into the territory. And so let's say you capture this level 1 pass here from Sophrostia going into Nivola. You then just have to build some territory here into that new region, teleport your city into Nivola. Once you do that, then, and you're in the Nivola region, you can then join any of the alliances here. So how it would work is you would join, you would TP here, then you could join any alliance in Nivola. You join an alliance in Nivola, you wait the cooldown because you have to leave your original alliance, and then once you join then you can join the new alliance. You wait your cooldown, then once your cooldown finishes, if that alliance has level 1 pass capture and they have territory into the next region, then you just TP to the next region. So you're kind of using alliance shells to hop from one region to another, but you have to wait that cooldown period depending on what your city hall level is. So that's one way that you can quickly, or at least move through regions at the fastest possible rate, because otherwise you would have to basically take your starting alliance and flag all the way from this level 1 pass throughout the entire region, which is most likely already established, to get to the other level 1 pass, and then remove this and those flags if you want to keep going. And you would kind of have to Jake the Snake yourself all the way throughout. So this is a faster way to do it. However, it can be challenging if you do not have other alliance shells that you can utilize in order to pass hop in that way. But it is something that can be done efficiently. Now let's talk about if you want to try and recruit players from another region, or maybe even vice versa, right? Or if you just want to, and again, remember, you can use this same logic if you want to join players from another region. But now let's say if you want to recruit people. So this is how you do it. Let's say you're in Sophrostia. You can only recruit people that are in Sophrostia, right, when you're starting out, at least until you get to Zone 2 and Zone 3. That'll be different. But when you're starting off in Zone 1, players can only join alliances within their affiliated region. So what you do is you capture a level 1 pass, and then you would flag out to capture a behemoth. Once you capture a behemoth in that region, players from that affiliated region or adjacent region can then join your alliance. So that's another way that not only, as we alluded to just before, you can join alliances in another region, but if you want to recruit players or you want players to come and join you, that's one of the ways you can do it, where you can then bring players in from adjacent regions or others to join your alliance. So that kind of goes through how the Zone 1 region restrictions work, whereas kind of how you start out, how you can join another alliance, how players can join you, how you can efficiently move as quickly as possible between Zone 1 regions if you have the flexibility there of being able to utilize alliance shells to kind of get from one part to another part. But it has drastically changed. As I said before, you could just capture a pass and then immediately drop a CF in front of the next adjacent pass or adjacent region pass, build it, cap the pass, and then go ahead and place, or sorry, you would place your AF, right, and then you would drop the CF, the next CF going forward, and you would just kind of wash, rinse, and repeat. So it really allowed for alliances to kind of, and I don't want to say rage through the regions, but you had a lot more flexibility then than you do now. And I think a big part of that is because they wanted to try and do something that would slow the pace down a little bit, so that way players and alliances would hopefully be more encouraged to do somewhat of a natural progression from Zone 1 to Zone 2 and then into Zone 3 instead of trying to go into adjacent zones. So I think it is something that actually has worked for the most part, and I'm really happy with this change overall when it comes to the health and the kind of lack of unnecessary fighting or unnecessary war that can happen so early that can really be a detriment to new players and or young players that are just starting out and playing Call of Dragons and or Kingdom Builders for the first time. There's really nothing more that pains a new player when they're just constantly getting bombarded with attacks or just getting attacked for no reason as early as it is, when it just doesn't do a lot for them. And unfortunately, more often than not, it can be a big turnoff for players wanting to restart, stop playing, or even quit the game altogether. And yeah, I understand how that also sounds, is that some people might just view it as, well, it's a war game, right? Why would people? But the big thing to understand here is that not everyone is always going to view it purely and only or solely as a war game, understanding that there's so many intricacies that go into Kingdom Builders and the way that a player's psychology will view what they perceive as being fun for them on a day-to-day basis. And at the end of the day, you have level requirements, right? Everyone wants to try and get to max level. You want to try and get to max tech. You want to try and get to VIP 15. You want to try and get to T5, etc. Those are things that usually, if you're someone who likes to min-max, right, you'd like to try and be at this 100% development rate for as long as possible, right, where you're not being impeded. That's something that's really important to some players. And that's why I believe doing these types of changes with how the Zone 1 movement has, in my opinion, improved, I think it will help overall. And again, if you guys have any questions or you have any feedback or thoughts on how the system used to be versus how it is now, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. That's going to be it for me, though. As always, until next time, I will catch you later.